Hey ladies, how are we today?
Brilliant, my dear. How are you?
I'm very well. It's lovely to see you, and I'm just admiring Sharon's backdrop.
Oh,
So
just everything
behind,
about Sharon.
oh, she's got the most amazing jacket on, the most amazing scarf, but the backdrop behind where she's sat that none of you listeners can see looks amazing.
You have
Oh,
to
it's
jump over to YouTube and see the recording on
yeah,
YouTube so you can see Sharon's work in actual visual
action. Yeah,
action.
yeah.
Yes, yes,
Love
yes.
it. But how are you doing, Felicity? All good?
Really great. I've had such an amazing week. It's amazing when you clear out the crap in your life that you've been
Yeah,
ignoring.
yeah.
I finally feel like I've got the root of something that was in my garden. I've finally got the end of the root up. We'll talk
Love
about that
it.
another time. But oh my goodness, it's freed up so much energy and
Yeah.
enthusiasm, and it's great. Yeah. Deal with your shit,
Clarity.
ladies. That's all I'm saying about that. Deal with your
Yeah.
shit.
Clarity is key.
Mm.
So we've got the lovely Sharon with us today.
Yes, 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 yes. So Sharon is from Dark Romantix, who are purveyors of Rockstar Interiors, which, as I say, if you jump over to YouTube, you'll be able to see. Sharon's just the most amazing woman, and we decided we'd love to have her on the podcast because she's gone through a number of iterations with her business, and she's finally found what she would call her sweet spot, I think. The stuff that she's done in the past, I don't think you'd say you didn't enjoy it, Sharon, did you? But you were kind of looking for the thing that was really you. So I'm going to ask you to share a little bit of your story.
Well, hello, ladies, and thank you. First of all, I want to say thank you for having me on. I'm really excited about this.
Great.
So where to start? Obviously, when you know that you're going to do something, you think, "Oh, where does it start?"
Where
Oh,
does it all
born
kick
in.
off?
No, I'm not going to go back that far.
Yeah.
That career. The funny thing is, I was thinking when I was leaving school, I didn't really have any kind of idea of a career. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And the funny thing is, and I know it's going to sound a bit weird, but I wanted to fall in love. That's what I wanted.
No, doesn't
Yeah,
sound weird.
I was the same. I was
So was
like,
I.
yeah, meet a man, have a family.
Yeah,
I want to be loved.
I wanted to fall in love, and I
Yeah,
was lucky enough, very much quite early on. I did meet my Mr.
man.
Right, I suppose.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was working as a secretary, and even when I was doing secretarial work, I still didn't have a clue. But I was taking photographs. My mum's friend had given me a camera, so I had a
Yes.
camera, and I was taking photographs on the side. And then I suppose cycle ahead a few years. I had a baby. We had a baby. We moved in together. We had a child. And 6 months after my baby was born, I developed a skin condition called discoid lupus.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it started off with a really little patch underneath my left eye. And because I'm of a dark complexion, I'm
Yeah.
saying that for your listeners,
Of course,
black
yeah.
lady, and then so underneath my left eye, I had it was like about the size, just smaller than a penny,
Right.
and it was the pigmentation was a lot lighter.
Yeah.
So I went to the doctors and I tried to find out what it was, and they were very unhelpful. They kind of brushed me off as a new mum. Oh, new things happen to new mothers, your body changes.
Right. Wow.
And then months later, these things just kept on, they were just all over my face. And I didn't know what they were for, I didn't know what it was. And that was for the early part of being a mum. So you can imagine I'm a mum, I'm just with my man, we're happy, I'm a young woman, and then I've just got this stuff going on, which I didn't know what it was. 4 years
Right.
later, I get it diagnosed and found out that it's an autoimmune condition
Okay.
Right. Wow.
called lupus. And the reason why I'm telling you that, because it's a really big part of the whole overall story.
Yeah.
Like I think all of us, we all have a long sort of adventure to where we get to. Our journeys are long, they're up and down, they're bumpy, there's good bits, there's bad bits. And the lupus was, it was, most of the time it was really bad,
Right.
but at the same time it was really enlightening, and it helped me decide when I did decide to look for a career, I decided to do hypnotherapy.
Mm.
Okay.
But my husband, we sort of fell into like a traditional I wasn't expecting it. I mean, it was back in the early 90s. Women didn't stay at home with the babies anymore. It just wasn't done. But I didn't have a career. My career was my children. And then get to the point where my husband, his career took off. And then when the kids got to a certain age, I thought to myself, well, I've got to do something. I should do something. I should go out to work. Yeah. So I retrained as a hypnotherapist. Right. Although I had been taking photographs, but along the way, I sort of had a real issue around my confidence.
With your photographs, with your photography?
With everything. The skin condition it just robbed me of any confidence that I had. And it's funny because looking back, I think to myself, but I still led my life. I did all sorts of things. I did stand-up comedy. I've done all sorts of things. I've been, I've been a speaker. I've gone on stage. I've done things, but my face was always the thing that I led with, if you like. I would go out thinking about how I looked, how other people perceived me, what they're thinking about me, whether I would put myself forward for business and things like that. It was
took over everything.
When I met Felicity, I think that my skin was, I think it was pretty bad. Other people used to say to me, we don't see it, we can't notice it. But, you wake up in the morning, you have a look at yourself in the mirror and you go,
No, just to say about that, you're right. I mean, I never really saw it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I could see it, but I only, because Sharon is such an amazing character and personality, that's what I saw. And she's stylish and beautiful and always has had that style. And I didn't, definitely the first thing I noticed was not the lupus. And that being said, it doesn't really matter what anybody else says, does it? Confidence is an inside job, as Emma would say. And until we sort that out ourselves, it doesn't matter who says we're beautiful and successful and yada, 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 unless we believe it ourselves, then it's not our reality. So I guess that's what you're saying, Sharon, there.
Pretty much. And then, so I suppose when I decided that I should get a job or do something, I couldn't go and get a job. I was a secretary. That's what the thought of going out to look for a job as a secretary, I was too old to do that by then. And also I had this skin thing going on. I couldn't imagine anybody wanting me to sit at the front of house of their organisation welcoming people when I felt like, so I retrained. I wanted to help other people. I wanted to do something because I knew that I had confidence and self-esteem issues. Funnily enough, I suppose it's that thing, you teach what you most need to learn. I decided to train as a hypnotherapist, and I studied neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, and coaching, and I got myself a diploma, and then I set up a practice. Funnily enough, the weird thing was, which used to sort of freak me out a bit, was most of the clients that I had, I would sit opposite them and they'd be telling me what's going on with them, and I'd want to go, I feel the same way, but you can't do that, can you? Do that. Really, you have issues with your confidence? Oh, me too. But I couldn't do that. So what did I do after that? I was really sure that I was going to stay in the helping professions. I was really sure that I was going to do that. So much so that I went on and I got myself a degree in counselling, and then decided that's not what I wanted to do.
I love it.
Say that last bit again, Sharon. It was a little bit crackly. So you got your degree in counselling, and then you were like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, that's it. I got the degree in counselling and decided that's not what I wanted to do at all. I wanted to, so I picked my cameras up. I decided to go down the photographic route and take pictures. But everything I suppose I learned when I was doing the hypnotherapy, which I think is really amazing, because it gets to the heart of what's going on with people and teaches people, you teach your clients that whatever is going on with them, they're the ones to find the solution. The thing with the lupus, the reason why it's so significant is because the doctors told me that there was nothing I could do about it, that I would just have to live with it. But I was so determined within myself to find, I used to say to myself, if it just developed in my body, surely I could find something to undevelop it in my body.
Brilliant mindset. Love that.
I just thought there must be something. And the thing with the lupus, while I hated, and I know hate is such a strong word, but I really did. There was a point where I really hated how I looked. But while that was going on, I took it to mean I have to find a way to love myself, because it wasn't just about how I looked. My children, for all of the years that my skin was really bad, they never, ever, ever once, when they were little, you know how little kids can they'll tell you, they'll say, your breath smells or something like that.
There's no filter, is there, with the little ones? No filter.
But they never, ever looked at me in any other way apart from their mum.
And with love.
It really taught me something about how children, but how people see you, what they're seeing inside of me. I thought to myself, this has got to exist inside of me, something loving, something beautiful, even though I might look, like pretty kind of awful. And I think that's why I chose hypnotherapy as well. I was looking for something for myself, and I was looking also for something for other people. And then so then I decided not to do that anymore, but I loved coaching. I thought it was really exciting because of what you can do with people and how you can change. So I was kind of in the personal development world for a little while. And then with my photography, I started taking pictures again, and I really fell in love with portrait photography and taking photographs of, I used to do, had a little program, it was called the Reveal program. And it was about combining coaching and photography together, and to help women learn how to relax and feel confident in front of the camera. And then that kind of morphed a little bit into boudoir photography, and it just all got very sexy and very and it was just all about confidence. I think it was all about helping, through working with other people, it was all about helping me find my confidence as well within myself, and to know that, I suppose, that your beauty is not about immediately how you look, but even though it is, it's really such a tough
but there's a different layer, isn't there? I've just been saying to Em before we came on air, I'm going to hold it up. I'm reading this amazing book at the moment, Wabi Sabi.
Hold it back a bit, Felicity, because the light's on it.
Tilt it a little bit.
That's it.
There we go. Wabi Sabi by Beth Kempton, and it's Japanese wisdom for a perfectly imperfect life. And she talks about the layers, and to kind of compare it to, let's say, food, for example. So the visual with food, although it's not a visual, would be the taste, but what's deeper, the experience, would be the flavour. Does that make sense? I know I'm using kind of mixed metaphors there, but there's different layers to beauty, and I think we're sold this image, aren't we, of this gorgeous, often quite androgynous model, perfect skin, young, but that is a form of beauty, but it's not the be all and end all. And I wonder who you'd rather sit down and have a conversation with. Now, that's not to diss models, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
I'd rather sit down and talk to a rugged, interesting, ugly, let's say, man, than someone that looks perfect and is really caught up with their external, what the world's validated them for being externally beautiful.
But then we put ourselves into that comparison trap, don't we?
Of course we do, yeah.
When you were talking about you looking outside and seeing other people and comparing how you look and what you do and what you've achieved and all the rest of it to other people.
I've done that.
We put ourselves in that position. No one else puts us in that position.
But we're conditioned to do it. That's a societal conditioning, isn't it? It's because we want to fit in too.
Totally.
I had a counsellor. I had counselling for when I was doing the degree. You have to have counselling, and I ended up staying on with him for a couple of years after. And one time he said to me, go out and have a look at people who are walking past and pick somebody that you want to be. It was something like that. And then when you go out and you start having a look at people, you go, no, I don't want to be you. No, I don't want to be. No, I don't want to be you. No. Oh. Does that mean happy with being myself. Okay then.
Yeah.
It's a really good exercise. It really helped. It's like, go and try on being somebody else if you're really that uncomfortable and unhappy. And you quickly realise that, I'm happy with being, or I'm at least, there is some, there is at least some happiness there that I can work on.
Definitely. And that's the key thing, isn't it, Sharon? It's working on, because it's the things that you've been saying about your whole journey as to, you getting to this point that you're at. It is a massive journey, and everything that you've done has sort of navigated you, and maybe might have gone off a little bit, but you've come back in. And what was I going to say? The limiting beliefs are what hold us back from getting us to where we want to go. But if we can overcome all of that crap, it's amazing what can, what comes from it.
The thing I've learned is it can take time. I think when I first got into hypnotherapy and everything, and NLP, and because NLP is so great at, like with phobias and certain things, it can do those things quite quickly. You kind of think, I think at the time I had this sort of belief, a belief that I would change really quickly, that I would love myself really fast, that, everything would just turn out and I'd be fine. And it just takes time.
Totally.
And it takes persistence, and it takes, I feel, I was reading something about M.Y.T.E, who used to be in the Spice Girls. I was reading something about her the other day, because I think she's got a new album out or something, and she was saying that she feels better in her 40s, confident than she did when she was, at the height of her fame, and there's Spice Girls all over the place. And I think definitely for me, I feel more confident and happy with who I am now than who I was when I say 20 years ago.
Totally.
And I didn't expect that. I thought by the time you get to your 50s, you start, my back, and
everything's hurting.
Be in bed by 7:30 and all that.
No. I loved when I turned 50. It was just like, wow, this is who I am. I'm still a work in progress, but this is what you get. I'm not going to be 20. I'm not going to be, anything. This, embrace who I am. And I do. I agree with you, Sharon. My body's got bulges and sags and things, and I'm just like, and this is life experience, and it's such a sense of freedom, isn't it, to love who you are, where you are.
Absolutely. And to look back, because my thing is that I never used to feel, when my husband was working and when I was doing all my, I do my photography or I do my hypnotherapy, and I must say, when I look back, it came from a place of, I was trying so hard to make what I thought was the contribution I needed to make to our family, which was, I was thinking to myself, I need to get out there and I need to make money because my husband make money and I'm not bringing any money to the table, and I'm just, there's women out there that have got their families and they've got jobs and they do this and they do that. And it was from that place, it was a bit sort of frantic. And because I was lacking in confidence in myself and in my abilities, I used to tell myself, again, like Emma, that you say, a limiting belief. I would be telling myself that I'm not giving anything to the relationship. Whereas, this man was able to go and build a career and come home to a beautiful home.
And a beautiful family. And
lots of food, cooking. But I didn't value that.
Don't see it that way.
Didn't see it.
It's crazy, isn't it? So many women, because I was like that. I was exactly that, what you're saying, for so many years, even though I was at home, and I worked, from Kitty was a year. I had a year off when I had Kitty. I've got 3 girls. But then after Kitty was born, I worked then. I was doing 2 or 3 jobs. I was working in HR and I was doing personal training. I also trained to do something with the council. Family group conferencing, it was called. Running myself absolutely ragged, stressed out, because I had that same belief that I needed to financially support the family.
Yeah.
We were in a position, Matt earned okay, but there was extras. We wanted the extras. We wanted the holidays and the bits like that. But again, I think that's us looking outside at what everybody else is doing and going, oh my God, they've got, they've had a holiday this year, or they've had 2 holidays this year, or they've done that, and trying to keep up with everybody else and just stressed out, so bloody stressed out. And it might not even be what you want. It might not even be, if you was to sit back and actually ask yourself the question, what do you want? Is it I want? It might not have been what you want, but you just get caught up in that trap of just comparing, working. It's horrible.
Yeah. And I think that thing with the comparing is that the comparison thing is you never compare yourself up higher. No. It's very rare that you go, well, actually, I'm way better than that person. We don't. We kind of look, we go, well, look, her life looks like it's really, really, really great. So I was doing that for a long time, and even when I was taking photographs, which I really love doing, I think I'm a really good photographer, actually, especially when it comes to working with people. I'm really good. But then I still was lacking in some sort of belief behind that. And then I did my reveal program. I was working on that for a little while. I got myself a business coach. We were supposed to do some marketing and kind of take the business to another level. It didn't work out. I felt terrible afterwards. And then I put my cameras down and I thought, no, I'm not taking pictures for a while. And my husband was he's been brilliant all the way through, always been really 100% supportive.
Yeah, shout out to Kevin. He's just an amazing
well done,
man. Kevin. Yeah, we love Kevin.
And and then he said, well, what are you going to do? And I said, well, I'm just going to take some time out just to think about what I want, what direction I want to go in. And I decided to ask myself, what was it I always wanted to do when I was a lot younger? What did I always want to do? What was in the back of my mind? And the back of my mind, it was interior design. And I don't even know why I didn't pursue it. I think I was thinking about this earlier, and it's like the school that I went to, I didn't even know. I left school not knowing that universities existed. That's the kind of education I had. I didn't know.
Whoa. What? That's mad.
I didn't find out about universities until I was, I think, in my early 20s, because I didn't go to college. I decided not to go to college. I think because everybody else was going to college. That was my reason. Everyone's going to college, so I'm not going to. So I think I did a youth training scheme, and that's how I ended up as a secretary. But I'm sure if I'd have known maybe about university, I might have ended up doing a degree in interior design back then. Wow. Because when I was about 16, I asked my dad for a job. My dad used to be a painter and decorator. And I asked him for a job. I said, can I come and work with you? And he said no. And he said no because I think on site it was all men. So he must have been having all sorts of crude conversations. He didn't want to expose his daughter to all these guys talking about whatever, So it didn't happen. I didn't do the painting and decorating with my dad. But I've always loved doing up my homes. I've always been in charge of doing that. Kevin's colourblind, so he just says, you choose the colour. And since we've moved here, we've been here about 6 years, I feel like I'm letting my style and personality come out.
Wonderful. You're in a rock star.
Amazing.
You're my inner rock star. She's
Yay!
And it's like the truth is coming out, everything, it's all about the whole truth. Everything is just all coming starting to unfold now, or has been over the last couple of years.
But you're absolutely right, Emma. And the other thing that's really amazing is, since I decided to do the interior design, I found myself a Chinese herbalist, and that's when my skin cleared up.
Amazing.
Interesting, isn't it? Interesting. Yeah.
When I found I found my thing, and I've gone, you know what, this is it. This is where I am. Because to me, it's everything. It's the hypnotherapy, it's the helping people, it's the transformation. I can take photographs. I'm actually designing my own, I'm designing my own homeware and art and all sorts of things. Doing all these things that is just like going, oh yeah, and feeling that that's how I want to work with people. When I've got my clients, I want to work with them just to go, okay, what have you always really wanted to do? Oh, I've always wanted to paint my bedroom black. Okay, let's do it. Let's
go for
amazing. So you're giving almost, and you're empowering women, aren't you, to
yes.
you know, just go with what their impulse is and just take a chance on their own desire and yeah.
And
inspiration.
Do it yeah. So my thing is do it through how you decorate and style your home. That's the rock star thing, you know, the rock star. Because when I think of rock star, I think to myself, they're people that we look at who they seem to just give themselves permission to do what they want.
Absolutely,
they dress how they want. They're creative. They stay up late. They trash hotel rooms. They wear whatever they want. They look. You know, we have like a kind of fascination for them, but I think inside of us, we've all got a little bit. I mean, not everybody. I'm not going to say everyone, but inside of us, we've all got a little bit of a kind of something that just wants to go. Yes, this is me.
Well, we're all unique, aren't we? We're all unique, and we, you know, going back to societal conditioning, we're conditioned, whether it's school, whether it's business, we're conditioned to fit in, and kind of, you know, pay heed to the norm. What is it? And you know, I remember it's a very different thing when I was flying as long haul cabin crew, and I was getting late 30s, heading towards 40, and I'd meet new crew, and they'd say on a trip, and they'd say, "Oh, so you know, what do you have babies?" And I'd be like, "No," and there was these looks of shock. It was just like, "Hang on a minute." You're a woman, therefore you're supposed to have children. And it was a tricky one because, you know, when you buck the norms, if you haven't got the sense of self poise and knowing who you are, it can feel really awkward to not conform to what other people expect you to be, because we want to conform and we want to belong,
fit in, don't we?
but it's so, again, liberating to think, actually, I'm going to follow my own inner compass and I'm all right as I am. Sharon, I remember us having a conversation where you're like, I'm not going to do any more personal development. I realised I'm all right as I am. I'm not going to keep trying to read new books and this, that. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. You know what? It's because I got to a point where I thought to myself, the more at that time, the more personal development I was doing, I was telling myself that I was broken and that I was, and I had to fix myself. That's why I thought if I keep looking down this route of trying to fix myself, I'm always going to be telling myself there's something wrong with me. And that's, I think that's where that came from, Felicity. When I just thought, no, I'm not going to do it anymore because I've just got to get to a point where I just go, you know what, I'm all right as I am. And I think what you said there just is really true about that whole thing fitting in. I mean, even with decor, I think the way we decorate, I think there's still a lot of that going on. You know, let's
definitely
stay safe. Let's not go. For me, I like the idea of being quite bold, and it's come out of me, and I'm thinking, oh.
Yeah, love it.
Oh, this is my personality. This is what my personality looks like in a home. It's quite interesting.
Oh, I love that.
Nice.
Just to see, and that's what I want to do with people, is like let them find out what it is inside of them that they've been wanting to express, but they've been holding back for whatever reason.
And I know you've said before, your home is it's your place, isn't it? It's your, you know, it's your
oasis.
Comfort. It's that's it. And to have that where you walk into your home and it's everything that you are, it's just amazing.
So nice.
Yeah, I love that.
It just feels so beautiful and you feel so comfortable and it's just everything.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. You walk into your home and it's everything that you are. Exactly.
Yeah.
Reflection of you.
Sharon, I've got a couple of questions for you. You've pivoted so much, and I think for anybody that's listening to this, you said you were in your 50s, didn't you? Yes. Did you say you was in your 50s? Yeah. You don't look like you're in your 50s. Not that, but you look amazing. But like, you've pivoted so much in your journey. Is there anything in particular where you sort of the biggest challenge that you had to overcome to move on to the next thing, to take the next step? Is there anything that you can pinpoint?
Honestly, the biggest challenge for me has always been my skin.
Yeah. Okay.
That was always the biggest challenge, and confidence, and realizing. The funny thing is, interesting question, because the funny thing is realizing that confidence is something I felt that I was looking for outside of myself. And then you kind of get to a point where I realized that, you know, I am a confident person, and pretty much I've always been a confident person. I probably told myself that I haven't been, but I've done things that I know other people, skin condition or no skin condition, wouldn't do.
Yes.
So the biggest challenge for me was just always believing in myself and believing that I was enough, that I was good enough, that I'm worthy, that I'm of value. Those things I would say. But yeah, I suppose, yeah, that's that. Yeah, that's what.
It's so inspiring for people listening, because I think we get into things, and I've done this, and I'm sure Felicity's done this exactly the same. We get into something, whether it's a job or we decide to take a particular career path, and we're going along it, and we're going, actually, this isn't quite what I thought it was going to be. This doesn't actually feel right. But sometimes, a lot of the time, and a lot of women, a lot of people in general, they stick at it because they feel they should, again, because of what they're going to be, how they're going to be perceived by other people, whatever it may be. So they stick at it. But what I love about you, Sharon, is you've navigated so many different things, and as much as you've said you've lacked confidence, you've got to have huge courage to be able to do that, to be able to go from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. So it just proves that it was always there. It was just a case of you peeling back the layers to bring it out, and you know, taking that next courageous step, and then the next courageous step. So for anyone listening that's struggling in that way, where they are thinking, I'm in something and I don't want to be in it, there's only one person that can change it. And it is just taking that next small courageous step, isn't it?
And talking to yourself in a different way, I think, just because that's been another big thing, is just learning how to learning how to have a different conversation with myself, and learning how to listen to what other people, you know, we go through life, and I think, I mean, I used to do this where people would say, you're this, you're that, you're great. So Felicity, you and both of you very kindly have said, oh, you're stylish, you're this. Like now I'd say, you know what, yes, I am stylish. No, what this whole thing, you know, where it's like learning how to listen to what others say. Okay, good and bad, but especially the good, because most of our friends and our family won't say things about us unless they really truly believe it. It's just most of the time we're just batting it away, going, no, I'm not, I'm not going to take that. You know, oh, you're good at this, or you're good at that. And talking about the pivoting, Emma, I used to think it was a really bad thing, you know, because I've got friends who have stuck in one particular career, and they've found themselves at the top of their career. They're doing really, really well. Especially females, some girlfriends. And I used to think to myself that I should, again, it goes again, you know, I should have just stuck to working in this particular way. If I'd have stuck at being a hypnotherapist, I could be here now, but I might be there, but not loving,
not happy.
I might not be loving it in the way that I think I can bring all my knowledge of hypnotherapy and of NLP and of all that personal development and change into interiors, because helping someone to change their space and how they feel about themselves in their space is going to change how they feel.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I love it. I love the story. She needs to write a book, doesn't she?
Absolutely.
Like, you've got to write a book. Be an interior focus, but you've got to put your story in it, because it's just so inspiring for people to just, you don't have to stick at something if you're not happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it doesn't matter how many times you change it. You just, you know, do what makes you happy. And
I love from what you're saying, Sharon, that, you know, people listening to this are going to think, this woman's not just going to slap some paint on the wall and say, your home's got to look like this, and just go in there and take over. You're going to really help them transform their space, and, as you say, reveal who they are through their interiors, through the colours and the textures. I think it's wonderful.
I love it.
Sorry, Emma.
No, go on. That's okay. I was just going to say, there was a video that you put on your Instagram feed the other day, and I watched it, and you were talking about, it was a great little tip, and you were saying about 5, I don't know if you called it your 5 values, but 5 really powerful words that you that inspire you, or that you desire to be, and to stick it up on your wall. Now, I do this with affirmations for myself. Like, if I'm feeling uncertain or anything like that, I might say, I'm confident and all this kind of stuff. But I loved that, because I thought, if you're looking at decorating your house and you've got these 5 words up, whether it's courage or confidence or love, whatever, and you've passion, and you've got them up on your wall, imagine how you transform your room. It would look incredible. And I was like, oh my God, I loved that. I loved what you had to say about that.
Thank you. It's a way of, when we moved here, so I'd said we've been living in this house for about 6 years, and in our last house, when we moved in, I was always of the, just paint everything white, and then we'll, bring the colour in the soft furnishings, etc., etc. And when we moved here, this house was all kind of greyish, whitey, kind of off-white. It hadn't been decorated for years. And I knew that I didn't want to paint everything white, but I didn't know what I wanted. So when I was doing my interior design course, when I was doing my professional certificate, it was a technique that I learned, that you come up with 5 words, but they kind of taught it different. And the way I've sort of used it for myself is more about emotions. It's about how you want to feel in the place. How, when you walk into the room, what emotions do you want to come to you?
Lovely.
When you're sitting in,
isn't it beautiful?
Your bedroom or whatever. And I think for the bedroom, it was sensual, it was dramatic, it was cozy. I think I had another 2, but I can't remember. And when I knew that one of the words was dramatic, I knew that I wanted something completely different, but I still didn't know what it was, to painting everything white, because that had been, as much as it had worked, it had still been quite safe.
Yes, vanilla.
Just having those words, those feeling words. And it's really interesting, Emma, that you talk about affirmations, because in a sense, now I hadn't thought about it like this, but it's really good. It's a real interesting take on it, because in a sense you are affirming what you want. If you use it like that, you're affirming, what do I want from this room? What do I want from my space? How do I want to interact with it? How do I want to make it my home and make it feel how I want to feel? So one of the words, I think my words at the moment, this is for the hallway. So I'm trying to do the hallway, and it's really interesting. But the place that I always think to start with your words, because if you start with your words, then you can add to that. So I've got my 5 words, and then from there I'm going to choose some other words, and then they will start telling me about textures, about colours, about what to look for when I'm putting together a mood board, what images I'm going to tear out, because otherwise it's just noise. There's just so much to choose from. I've got to be able to narrow it down. And by using those words, I'm narrowing it down. But I love what you said, because I think also it is about affirming your space. And then the way I call mood boards manifesting mood boards, because you make a mood board to manifest what you want into your space. So,
well, it's all of that, isn't it? This is the beauty of what you're doing, and all the personal development that you've learned over the years, and you're bringing it to what you do now, which it's amazing. People, if anyone's gonna want anyone to do up their house, it's going to be you, because it's coming out from a place that's sort of deep inside, isn't it? It's got so much meaning to it.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely. So I've got a question for you, Sharon. I know we're a little bit short on time now. What would you say keeps you in line with your inner compass? How you keep yourself on track, how you keep yourself in this place of just being comfortable with who you are, what you're doing, your uniqueness? What's your kind of, do you have any practices
or habits?
That's a good question, very good question, because habits, I am on and off with my habits, I would say. So I do like, when I'm in the zone of getting up early, I love to be up early before everyone. I do still read personal development books, and I do still listen to I like to do Joe Dispenza's meditations, but I'm on and off, so I'll do them for months and then I'll stop, and then but I just feel so grateful for, I don't know, just I'm so happy that I'm alive, and I'm so happy I've got a lovely family, and I'm so grateful that I am in the position to have tried and, you know, worked at this and worked at that. I feel really blessed, and I feel really proud of myself that I've got.
Yay! So you should.
Oh, I love it.
I've got a lot of determination. Do you know what I mean? I've got a lot. I remember the doctor telling me that there's nothing you can do. And in that moment, I stopped listening to him, and my husband just had to talk to him. And in my head, I said, you're wrong. I'm going to find something. And I've never, ever, ever stopped. So I'm really proud that I've got that determination. And I think that persistence. And I'm just really grateful. I've got a great family. I've got great friends. And now I think differently. I think very, very differently to how I used to think years ago. I do feel that confidence, and I just think that if you keep going and looking for the thing that it is that you're looking for, and never giving up, you're going to get there. You'll just go, and it is one day you just go, oh yeah, actually, you know what, I actually feel all right.
That's
fun. And I love what you say about gratitude there, Sharon, because that's just appreciating what you've got right now. It's not striving towards something in the future. It's like, right now, my life,
I'm in the present.
Is lovely. I'm, you know, I've got great things. Yeah, and I think that attracts more and more, doesn't it, to us? Yes,
and that's the thing. Like, so Felicity, sorry to talk over you, but that's the thing. No. You know, it's I did that because I remember reading if I can remember this phrase years ago, and it says something like, whoever is in your life, you bring people to you. That was it. You bring people to you, and what you choose to do with them is up to you. And I never ever forgot that. I don't know where I read it, but if we think about it, everything in our lives, we've brought it to us. We've brought it to us. So I'm sitting in this house. It's a beautiful house. I've got a great family. So this person who had no confidence, who struggled with her self-esteem, who didn't think she was enough, who didn't think this and didn't think that, has now got a great life. How did I do that? It's possible, you know. So we tell ourselves that no, that's not going to happen. I'm not this, I'm not that. But I've managed to somehow create a really wonderful life for myself, and I'm really grateful. And I've got a great husband, and I've got great kids. And I love interior design, and I'm just really excited to get inside people's houses.
Well, if you're going to have a habit, Felicity, that's the habit you want, isn't it? Practicing gratitude, don't you think?
Gratitude and being excited and happy about your life. Definitely. Sharon, it's been such a pleasure to have you on the podcast today, and we'll make sure that the listeners can connect with you, because you're darkromantix.co.uk. It's with a .com, but we'll put it so people can read it properly.
Yes,
and on YouTube we'll put the Instagram feed. We'll put the link to your Instagram.
Oh yeah, perfect. That would be great. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me on.
It's been a pleasure.
Really enjoyed it. And you know, it's really brilliant. What's really interesting is to look over the past, you know, and to be able to sort of reconcile with it and go, even though it was difficult, there were really tough bits, I'm at a place where it was all worth it now. So so thank you very much for just even giving me the opportunity to have a look back and go, it's
been our pleasure, hasn't it, Emma? It's been
amazing.
A delight.
Loved it. Learned so much just from what you've said in the last 25-30 minutes. It's incredible. So thank you. Really appreciate it, Sharon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers, ladies. Take care.
And we'll catch you again soon.
See you next
week.
Bye.
Bye.